So next question is from Ander Beth. Can you elaborate on the differing results between low and high rep sets?
Oh yeah, this was a
What? Say that again. Sorry.
low rep and high rep sets. What's the difference between the results?
Oh, okay.
That they'll provide for you. So low repetitions, you're going to train kind of this low gear, grinding, summoning of strength. Higher rep,
It's like more torque.
The higher rep stuff, you're going to get, better pumps. It's going to be a little bit more exhausting, a little bit more cardio. Both extremely valuable for the body. And now this is an observation, okay? So I think everybody should train and go in and out of both of them if they want the best results. But when I observe people who avoid one or the other, here's what I notice. So when I see people who only ever train in low reps, here's what I tend to observe in terms of how they look. And there's no science to support this. This is all pure observation. They tend to look very hard, solid, granite-like, but they lack the muscle volume. They lack the big round shape that you see. The high rep people tend to have that shape to their muscles, but they lack the density. It almost looks like it's just full of air. So which one gives you which? I think the low rep stuff gives you that hard, dense look. The higher rep stuff gives you that pump, kind of bubbly look. I think you got to do them both. Both gives you the best results.
Well, the beauty is that they both send a very unique and different signal to the body. So if it doesn't matter which side you're on, most people tend to gravitate towards one or the other. My guys that love to lift heavy and brag about the weights they lift, they tend to find themselves always gravitating to those singles, doubles, triples, or maybe 5x5 type of training, and they spend a majority of their weight training in that rep range. And even if their goal is to build strength and power and muscle, which that lifting in that rep range serves a lot of that. But because they do that all the time, one of the best things they can do is move to 15 to 20 reps, and they'll get a ton of strength and muscle. And so because it's so different to the body, it feels 5 reps feels completely different than 15 to 20 reps. And because of that, the body, it's novel. And so the body then changes. And if same thing is true, if you're a person who's, I want to lean down and I want to be toned and I just want to be firm, I don't want to get big, bulky muscle, but so you gravitate towards 15 to 20 reps to supersets to low rest periods, you train that way all the time, you switching over to the 5x5 type of training, 5 sets, heavyweight, 5 reps, you will get what you want because it's novel for you also. And so the body, and that's what you want, is you want your training, you want to do it long enough to allow the body to adapt and get good at it so it changes. But then at a certain point, and typically what most of the research looks like is somewhere between that 4 to 8 weeks. So if you've been 4 to 8 weeks in a set rep range, the best thing that you could possibly do is to move to the other end of the spectrum, and you'll continue to get the results you want.
What was a cool thing to observe with this was your transformation, Adam, because when we first met, you had lived in the 12, 15 rep range for a long time as a pro competitor. Then we all got together, started Mind Pump, and then you're like, I'm going to see how strong I can get in the low rep range. And the change in your physique was interesting. It was like I had observed in other people, you kind of got this more kind of granite look. There was a picture that you actually posted of yourself, before and after, both lean or whatever. And it was distinct.
So after the first decade of training for me, I gravitated towards the, more pumping exercises. I did, 10 reps, 12 reps, 15 superset. I kind of lived in that rep range. And something that always kind of bothered me was when I was aired up in the gym, I felt really good. I liked the way I looked. Blood all pumped in there, and my body was all filled out, and my muscle bellies, and I liked the look that my physique had. The minute I'd walk out the door, a half hour, 30 minutes later, I would deflate and come down. And when I was not pumped up, I didn't really look like somebody that was really buff. You could kind of tell that I had definition, but it wasn't as defined, or it wasn't as pronounced. When I started lifting really, really heavy, I noticed that even when I'm like falling off for like a week, or I haven't been consistent, I haven't been in the gym, you can still see my triceps on me. You can still see my that didn't happen until I started really lifting heavy, and that kind of speaks to the what you speculated about because there is no science right now to support that it makes the muscle look more granite.
Plus, there's such an individual variance. I don't even know how you would study that.
Yeah, but I can attest to my experience of not really lifting heavy that much, and I intermittently did it, but never like I did when we all got together, and it completely changed the way my physique looks, and now. I tend to gravitate towards the lower rep range because I noticed that it seems to keep more muscle on my body than doing like the high rep range.
Yeah, I had like the completely opposite experience, just lifting, the 1 to 5 rep range forever. And then anytime I brought it up to 15 reps or so, like even like 10 to 15 reps, like I would look in the mirror. I'm like, whoa, you just get that immediate sort of definition that you haven't had the entire time. Like I just have this sort of like everything's just sort of the same, like kind of a look forever. Like you just build a certain amount of muscle mass and then, you just sort of sustain that muscle mass. But the hypertrophy training really shows it off and gives those lines.
Well, maybe that's the real lesson from this conversation is less about 5 rep range builds granite type looking muscle,
right.
Low rep range builds like this airy.
Do it all.
Yeah, maybe what the real truth is, whatever you're doing that you know what you gravitate towards the most to. The most beneficial thing that you could do is the opposite.
Totally. Look, this is why all of our MAPS programs phase people in all of those different rep ranges, which, by the way, they're all, and I want to mention this on the podcast, they're all 40% off right now, individual programs, if you use the code summer program.